After the war, Germany had to sign the Treaty of Versailles that stated that Germany had to take full accountability for starting the war. Germany had to pay $33 billion to the winners of the war. These funds are called reparations. The reparations were more than Germany could take, so to pay the debt, they printed more money. Well, that caused inflation to spread and made German money worthless. Eventually, the inflation problem was indomitable, but Germany still had other problems. Unemployment was towering, and the new democratic government didn't have open support from the people. Common civil unrest. Then the Great Depression started in 1929. Even though it started in the U.S., it had a big impact on the economy around the world. The German people were looking for someone to restore order and prosperity and someone to lead them through these tough times, so they turned to Adolf Hitler. Hitler was the leader of the Nazi Party, a fascist political movement. Fascism is a type of government that focuses on one single dictator. It is centered around an extreme form of patriotism. Fascism takes away citizens' individual rights. It also states that strong countries have the right to conquer weak ones. Anyway, when Hitler took power, he started building and manufacturing tanks and warplanes. He also started building up a strong army. This boosted up the German economy and made Hitler popular. This also violated the Treaty of Versailles, which forbade Germany from having a strong army. And the leaders of Britain and France just let him do it anyway. Why? Well, World War I wasn't hard on just Germany. It was pretty tough on all the countries that had participated in the war. Together, Britain and France lost 2 million soldiers and $60 billion just on the war. They wanted to avoid another war at all costs, and they thought Hitler felt the same way, and he wouldn't start one as long as they didn't bother him. Hitler then allied himself with Benito Mussolini, the Italian dictator, and they both made a deal with Japan, whose government was made up of military generals. These three countries together called themselves the Axis powers. The Axis powers started expanding into and taking over other nations. Japan took over parts of China, Italy annexed Ethiopia, and Germany invaded Austria. Since the international community still let him get away with it, Hitler started pushing even more territory. The leaders of Britain and France met with Hitler and agreed to let him take over parts of Czechoslovakia in 1938. Neville Chamberlain, the Prime Minister of Britain, claimed that this would bring peace for our time. Most people thought that Czechoslovakia and Austria weren't worth fighting a big war over, while some felt that Germany was just reclaiming land it lost during World War I. But after Germany invaded Poland on September 1939, Great Britain and France finally declared war. That is the beginning of World War II into Europe. The United States shipped off supplies to France and England, but they wouldn't declare war or send troops to fight. In the meantime, the U.S. was trying to stop the Japanese expansion by placing a trade embargo. Japan was getting rid of the idea of staying out of the world. Before, Japan was a neutral nation and did not want to get involved with anything like European wars. All they did was small trading, and they decided that they wanted more power. The way business works, they concluded, is more land equals more money equals more power. They tried to fulfill this by expanding and taking over weak parts of China on the east coast. China could not fight back because these were their weakest parts of the country. They were trying to defend their big cities. China had no way out, and they were not the only country that disagreed with Japan's way of gaining world power. We had to take action without jumping into war. We knew that the Axis power setup, if we got to war with Japan, Germany and Italy would declare war on us. Therefore, we would be drawn into World War II. So we decided to stop all trading with Japan and to try and stop them from expanding so far into Asia. We thought that doing this would make Japan run out of supplies, not be able to expand anymore. Japan decided to get back at the U.S. for placing an embargo on them. So in the morning of December 7th, 1941, Japan launches a huge surprise attack. full of planes and bombs and torpedoes on the Navy base of Pearl Harbor. The first wave of Japanese bombers was at 7:53 a.m. The first target hit was at the battleship Roe, where the ships Utah, Nevada, Arizona, Oklahoma, West Virginia, and California were stationed. The worst hit ships were the USS Arizona and USS Oklahoma. The Oklahoma was hit by one torpedo and was turned upside down. Some men were trapped in and pounding on the wall, so someone would free them while the rooms were being flooded in water. But some men fell overboard into the sea of burning oil, beginning to swim to shore, surrounded in exploding ships and their crewmen and roommates being thrown overboard also. It was very horrific and caused many casualties. The second attack was at 8:55 a.m. This attack killed over 2,400 Americans, sunk or damaged over 21 ships, and over 188 aircraft carriers were damaged or ruined. After the attack, Pearl Harbor was destroyed. It was never the same again for both American and Japanese Americans. Pearl Harbor was able to be rebuilt, but it took a while. It was never the same as it was before the attack. Today, Pearl Harbor is a historic site with battleships, memorials, and national artifacts. That is the Pearl Harbor summary from Gabby, Macie, and Ren. The end. The bombing of Pearl Harbor was a horrific event that led the United States to enter into World War II. Many people ask the question, how and why? When Germany was defeated by the Allied powers in World War I, the economy in Germany had a huge impact because of the war.